Hey there, this snippet was recorded from a live Q&A within my community, and I wanted you to experience what we experience in the inside. Thank you so much.
Hey friends, how are you today? So I just wanted to let you know that it's just me solo here in the live Q&A, but I do have some questions prepped and ready to talk about. Maybe we'll get to multiple, maybe we'll just get to one. Because sometimes we start these conversations, right? And it's like, how much can we talk about those things? And I think this first question we could talk about for a while, right? So the question would be, how are you handling being the thermostat of the home? And I say that because a lot of times as firewives, as moms, as whatever other role that you want to look at to play into this, that we regulate the temperature in our homes and we don't even realize it sometimes. So think about, if you have children, this is especially a parent, or if you have a dog like I do that wants to be with you all the time. She's literally in her crate, like right next to me. So a lot of times we can react to something and the dog gets excited, or jumps around, or the children hear your tone of voice or what's happening with you, whether it's happy, sad, emotional, whatever it is, they sense that something's going on and they react to that. So think about being the thermostat of your home and how you're handling that. Because I know that I have not gotten this right. There's so many times I have not gotten this right. So don't think that if you're in a place where you're like, I'm not getting this right, that you can't change it, because you can. So there are times whenever we welcome our firefighter home, right? And maybe they've had a rough couple of shifts, depending if they're on overtime, mandatory overtime, whatever it is. And they come home and you're just a hot mess and you verbally vomit on them and you act like a basket case. Anyone else been there? I know I have been. And so you can relate that to the same way to your children, right? You wake up in the morning and you immediately let the things, the thoughts, the negativity pop into your head, and you react in a way, respond to in a way to them that just throws the whole temperature of the room off. How are you handling that? Because I don't know about you, but I know that I have felt the guilt, and most tragically, I should say, I would say it's pretty emotional as a mom when you feel that guilt or that shame or the things that come in, you're like, gosh, I responded that way again. And I would also tell you that if you're a person of faith, that's the enemy's way of trying to infiltrate as well. And so, it's difficult to manage being the thermostat. And maybe you're like, I don't want to be the thermostat. Why am I the one that regulates the temperature? Because you are. You're the one that God created with compassion and sympathy and empathy and nurturing and warmth and presence. And I know that dads, male role models, whatever it is in your home or outside of your home, that they can harbor some of those characteristics, but not usually. It's usually the mother that dictates what the temperature is in the home. And so I don't get this right all the time, but I can tell you from experience that it goes a lot better when I am a positive, calm, responsive instead of responding, or instead of reacting, responsive instead of reacting person. Whenever we look at those things and we bring the harmony and unity and the peace, we don't bring peace, God brings peace, but we have a responsibility to bring that harmony and that peace, that balance and that unity. It's not, I heard this just this morning, I was listening to a call and someone kept saying, she's in the business world, and she kept saying work-life balance. And her friend's like, it's not work-life balance, it's harmony. Because balance would be means that something is equal, and work life and home life is not equal. It's a harmony. We have to figure out how much to give of this one and how much to give of that one. And then once we find that balance, one could be up here, not balance, harmony. One could be up here and one could be down here, but they're still in harmony with one another, right? Think about, and she related it to like a symphony or an orchestra. Think about that. There's a high note, there's a low note, but they work together and they sound great, right? Spam risks, don't you love those? And so how are we operating in our home to make it more unified, harmonized, and like a symphony, right? There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, just like in music, but we can still make it harmonized. And so I would tell you that you pause. There's a principle called the power of the pause. And it can be a business principle, it can be a coaching principle, it can be a nursing principle. There's a lot of ways that you can look at this power of the pause. And that pause is typically 8 seconds. Have you ever paused for 8 seconds when you're in maybe a conversation that's getting a little elevated, or you're in a conversation that's getting out of sorts, or there's someone responding or reacting rather, and you're like, whew, what's happening there? I'm gonna have you practice this. This recording goes inside our forum, and so no one else is gonna see it unless they're a member of this community. But let's take 8 seconds. That's a long time to process thoughts, to let feelings come down, whatever it is. Do you see? Like, even when, I'm speaking to firewives here, when our husbands have been gone and they walk through the door and they may be at a 10 and you're like, what is happening right now? Give them time. Tell them, hi, I love you, glad you're home. And then give them time. And if they start spouting out something, just be like, okay, they need a minute to just start talking. Cool. Like, why would we react just because or respond or even react? Don't even respond or react, right? Neither one are appropriate at the time. Just let them, get it out. And I know you're like, I've been home 24 hours with children. Even by yourself can be a lot, right? Sometimes I'm by myself and it can be a lot. I don't know about you, but it can be a lot sometimes. And so whether it's you and the dog, you and the cat, you and your people, little people, like, just take the time to let all of the energy and whatever come out, because you have to think about it. And this is totally, you firewives can totally relate to this. They are operating at a 10 for at least 12 out of the 24 hours, if not more than that. My husband just got off a double, so he's reeling like this. And he gets home and his brain is checklist. Did we talk about this? Checklist. And he's trying to take care of things at home because now he's home. But he's been taking care of things in the community because he's been in community. So, and at work as a captain, he's checklisting, task checklisting, right? Keeping people in line. And so when he comes home, he's keeping people in line. And we're like, we don't need to be in line. But it can't help but filter over sometimes. And so that's where grace comes in. I know that that's really difficult and really challenging sometimes, but that's where grace comes in. And, maybe you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, maybe it's, offering space, offering quiet time, offering you not saying a darn word. Because 9 times out of 10, you say something that's out of, whatever, you just say one word and it could throw everything off kilter, right? And I know that sounds like a huge weight and a huge responsibility, but I can tell you that as you start to lay this out and map this out, that you will see how your home will be more peaceable, will be more, again, the word harmonized. I love that this morning. I was like, harmony. Think about a really good song, harmony, symphony, tune, beat, bird whistling, whatever. If it just hits your ears in the right way, you're like, oh, so good. And so if our home could be a place where we walk in and we go, oh, that's so good, why wouldn't we want that? Because when we go outside these four walls, what kind of hell and chaos we face out there, why would we want that in our home? Don't even let it in, right? Like, be careful and guard the eyes and ear gates of yourself, of your home, of your family, of your children, if you have children, your nieces, nephews, whoever you're looking after, whatever. It doesn't have to be your own children, but just be mindful of what's coming in your home, especially, whenever you have these things in your hand, right? All the time. Be careful of how that's entering into your home. I'm only looking at my phone right now because our 15-year-old has to ask for things that he needs at school to be able to operate, Anyway, excuse me, let me take a drink. So, again, this isn't going to be very long because I'm here solo by myself, but I would tell you that I would really take this question. I would challenge you to go, you know what? How am I setting the temperature in my home? What do I need to do to make changes to improve and to make this better? Because there's always room to be better, right? No matter what situation we're looking at, no matter what your circumstance is, no matter how much money you have, what kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive, none of that matters. We can all be better. And I just would challenge you to take this question and really, if you pray about it. If you journal, if you pray and journal, great, do both. But I would just encourage you to do that. So thank you for being here. I love you guys. I hope that this helped you.